All right. Hi, everybody. This is A7X Fan Ben, and this is Pirates CSG podcast number 51. And welcome aboard to the podcast Getempowder. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, thanks. And so, how did you get into Pirates CSG?
Oh, that is a story. My friends and we've known each other since grade school, and we're all real big fans of the movies, huge fans. So when my buddy was off in college, his girlfriend had happened to stop by Target, and she had noticed these packs of cards with Jack Sparrow on them and like Will, and she just picked them up, bought them, didn't really know what they were, and like took it back to him. And of course, he opened them, checked it out, and he loved it. So when he finally come back from college, he was in California, and he's like, "Hey, come over, check them out." We had kind of like a welcoming home little get together, and he showed us, these pirate cards, and he also had like the, I think that there was a Transformers constructible and the Star Wars one, if I'm not mistaken. We didn't care about those. We were just interested in the pirates, and he had like the Black Pearl and Jack Sparrow, and I think he even had like the Davy Jones, and that really piqued our interest. And it's kind of, the excitement that happened from that point was kind of a blur because we kind of went crazy with it. I remember the next day, I went to the store and bought a few packs, and I got a Black Pearl, and from then on, we got really, really into it. And it was just the three of us. Like, that's really all we knew that knew the game, but it really got bad there. I'd never really truly experienced, I guess you could say, addiction, until I found Pirates. Luckily I never like went into debt over the game, but I'd find myself like sitting at the store and like making compromises, like, I don't have to eat lunch this week. I could buy like 5 more packs,
Oh my god!
Like if I didn't, if I just stayed home and I didn't drive anywhere, oh shoot, I could get like 10 more packs,
Yeah.
But and I remember one time I'd go into the store, I'd get some, and I went out to my car and I opened the packs and I bought kind of what I could afford. And then after I opened them, I went back in and bought what I really couldn't afford, and it was bad. And we had it down to a science. Like all the stores, it was Target, Toys R Us, Shopko, and we had some gaming stores, but they never really upped their. They never got new inventory in, and their packs were they were charging like $5.25 a pack, where in the stores they were just much cheaper. So, but I used to work at Target when I was in high school, and I knew when the ship came and they were going to restock the shelves. So I'd, Toys R Us, I'd be there on I think it was Thursday after work. And if I was the first one there, I'd call my buddy up. It's like, hey, they got like 2 boxes of Savage Shores and a couple tins, I'm going to get a box. What do you want? And he's like, oh, pick me up a box and like the tins. And it didn't matter because whatever was left, somebody was going to buy. So I just putting it all in your cart and checking out, and we divvied up later. But, I got home once and I put all my plunder for the day on my bed, and I was just kind of looking at it and then looking at the pile I kind of already had. And I called my buddy up and I'm like, hey man. And, he knew what day it was. So he's like, hey, yeah, what'd you get? I was like, hey, I don't know. I haven't opened them yet. He's like, what's wrong? I was like, dude, I think we have a problem. He's like, without skipping a beat, he's like, oh yeah, we're bad. So what'd you get? And I was like, oh, give me a minute, I'll tell you. Open them, but we got in deep. It was terrible. We finally like bought the town out of Pirates, and we eventually ended up going to the game stores to buy them out, but. After that, we had to go online and to get our fix, and it was just, it was a whirlwind. And I don't know what. One time, my friend he invited us over to his house, and he's like, "I got something to show you." And he had under this blanket like this kind of pile, and we weren't sure what it was. And he had like ripped the blanket open. There was like 8 boxes of, I believe it was, Mysterious Islands. And I don't know what he got, like some kind of crazy deal, but I ended up buying like 3 boxes, and it was only like $70 is all he wanted in return. It was really, I don't know what kind of screaming deal he got, but I can't remember if those were the ones that were in like the 18-pack boxes. I'm pretty sure that was only Davy Jones. But
There were. I know I
yeah,
got a couple of Mysterious Islands boxes of 18 packs. I don't know if it was the same deal, but I think they were like 18 bucks or something like that for 18 packs back on Dave and Adam's Card World back in like early 2011. I don't know if that's around the time you guys had this, but
yeah, it was pretty close to then because I didn't even think of shopping online until, the supplies started to run out. And um, that kind of spurred, hey, we can go online and start picking the ships we really want because it's the whole marketing thing, and we fell right into it. You got to buy X amount of common to get the good stuff, and you end up with a pile of plastic you're never going to use, really, if you're competitive. So yeah, we started just seeking out like ships, and my buddy was, oh man, he was way into it more than we were, my other friend and I, and he was into collecting, like he wanted to collect, and I kind of gave that up rather quickly because I realized what it was going to take, and I was like, I'm good with just the good stuff I can play with, and I kind of gave up the whole collecting. But I remember Savage Shores, he bought, I like 20 boxes to try and complete the checklist, and he was short a common, I think it was an American captain, and
wow.
he just couldn't get it. And I had one. So I was like, well, what are you going to give me for this? And he's like, I'll give you whatever you want. Just please, can I have it? And I was like, I just gave it to him. I was like, I know you're paying, man. You can just have it. And he pulled out the list and he checked it off. And he was like, oh, that's so much better. I'm never buying Savage Shorts ever again.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just kind of ran with it. If one of us had a card and the other one didn't, we went out and bought until we got the card. And it was like, you can't have one up on me. And it was, yeah, it was pretty crazy. But we got into it pretty hardcore.
Yeah. That sounds like spoken like a true addict. You had to skip lunch for more Pirates packs. That's pretty crazy. Nice.
It is, and
That's awesome.
we've hung out since grade school, and we've never like gotten into a game or anything like this before, and it just kind of hit us like
Yeah.
we got to do this. This is going to be our life from now on, and
Yeah.
we were okay with that,
Nice.
surprisingly.
Yeah. Nice. So was there like a singular moment when you knew it would be like a huge deal to both of you, or was it gradual?
What's that? Sorry, I didn't catch the first part.
Was it gradual or like an instantaneous thing where you knew it would be a huge deal to both of you?
Uh, well, my buddy, he had already kind of got into the deep end, and I
Yeah.
was just kind of slowly waiting out there, trying to keep up with him. And our third friend, he never really had money. He's always been kind of behind, so we just kind of give him what, if there's anything he needed, we just let him, borrow it or have it, or we'd always end up with doubles and triples and quadruples, and all of his pirates honestly will fit in like a small kind of like little tool bag.
Yeah.
It's overflowing, but everything he needs to play the game is right there. So he basically, between the two of us, he ended up with just kind of the best of the best on a shorthand. So he kind of lucked out. But yeah, I it was gradual for me. I just kind of, yeah, like that one day I had to step back and be like, God, I got to slow down.
Yeah.
This is not good. This is an unhealthy amount of plastic in my corner. And like I said, most of it, we always took the best of the best to play. And man, did we play. It was crazy. It was one of the best times of my life was sitting and we were like in our mid 20s,
Yeah.
playing this little game. We'd always go over to my buddy's garage because it was just the best setup. It was his parents' house. So they always had like food in the fridge, and they had a nice, comfortable garage. It just had the perfect setup.
Yeah.
And right away, I went out and I built a round table. It was like 42 inches in diameter. And Oh man, the first 5 games, we probably argued about rules more than playing the game.
Yeah.
And we hadn't even heard of the codex, didn't know it existed. We just tried to make the best of what we had. And it got to the point where we just started making our own rules. Like, you'd get in there and say, like, hey, I want to do this. Oh, I don't think you can. And we just started voting on things. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, from now on, we're doing it that way. And oh, geez, when I did finally find the codex, we had to restructure like everything. We were so bad. And after I read the codex, I was like, you know what? We're just reading way too much into this game. Like,
Yeah.
way too much. We want it to do all this awesome stuff. It is not meant to do these things. Oh, for one instance, like I always took the Grand Temple. That was my baby. My buddy always took the Sand Crystal Ball. That was his baby, and my buddy took the High Fang. It's like no matter what fleet we built, we always had those. And I had what is it? It's 9 points. The Jack Hawkins, the
Yep.
captain, reverse captain ability.
Yep.
So we just kind of assumed free action stacked. So I would put him on the Grand Temple with a helmsman, and I would move and then shoot. And I would stack that shoot action as the free action that would allow me to move again. Totally wrong. So I'd roll up 3S, blast somebody, and get 3S out of there, and nobody could catch me. And it was just terrible. But we were like, yeah, that's how it is. This is how it is. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be that way.
Yeah.
Oh man, we got so much wrong.
Yeah.
But
That sounds funny though. Nice.
but and we never played traditionally. The round table I had, we actually sectioned off into 3 equal spaces. So like a pie chart would be just cut into thirds,
Yep.
and we'd have our home islands. If you imagine a pizza slice, just right in the middle of the crust, kind of on the edge,
Yep.
and we'd put out wild islands, an equal number in each C zone. And we never really counted up gold. We just get a couple sevens, a few sixes, some fives, and then make the rest up with 1 through 4s. And we'd put like 3 coins on each island. And then we'd figure out the UT we wanted, put that one on each island. And that was our game, like from then on. And if you crossed that C zone, it was a declaration of war. It's like, what are you doing in my waters? I was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I'm a pirate. But I was like, oh, I ain't having that. And those two, whoever decided to cross who, would fight till the bitter end, and then the third guy would win because he's just over there collecting gold.
Yeah.
Like, I'm winning this one,
Yeah.
and we'd notch on the board a win. And one time, and it didn't take long, but we were all good little pirates, and we didn't decide to attack one another. So we just go out, get our gold, and got back to our home islands, and nobody fired a shot, and it was the most boring game
Yeah.
we'd ever played. And I was like, well, we got to fix this. So from then on, and we even got worse than this, we put a fort in the middle, and we loaded up with gold, and it would have
Nice.
8 cannons, all red 2s. And if you got in that within the range of the fort, it was up to the other 2 to call the shot. So sometimes I'd get close, like I'd get with like an L and a half an S or something, and they wouldn't notice. So got back to my turn, I'd be like, oh, you guys didn't call the range, and they're like, uh-oh, So I go in and take out the fort, and generally, if you busted the fort, you would win. And we eventually got to the point where that wasn't even enough. We put 2 forts out there, surrounded with sea monsters, just because it got that bad. There's a lot of things we could have done, but for some reason we just stayed on that path. Like, we all start equal space away, we all have our stuff, and so it was a different way of playing. That's just how we did it. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds cool though. So that the different way of playing that you talked about in the email, probably.
Yeah, we never really experimented with anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it. We tried moving just like 1 ship each instead of our entire fleet. And then you had to move each ship at least once before you could go back and move the same ship twice, or take its action or turn. And we did that once, and we didn't hate it, but we didn't like it enough to ever do it again.
Yeah.
And we always played Flat Earth, and I mean, we had so many games just with that setup, and we never really strayed from it. We never had a
That's
reason to, because it was all fun.
yeah. I'll have to try that. Having like
But
the one wild island with the gold in the fort. I'll have to try that sometime. Sounds cool.
well, the first turn would be your strategy turn. You get out, see what unique treasures. You put your your scout ships out to see what you had kind of in your area, and then you'd kind of use your scout ships after that to get the UT to what gunships you needed, and you kind of just made a plan from there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, in my a lot of it was like the ambiance, like. We would talk like pirates and we'd quote the movies nonstop and just have a blast. But if you could imagine kind of this dark corner and there's this light that hung just 2 foot above the table, and it lit it just perfectly to where if you leaned in to take your turn, you were lit, but all you could see around you were shadows,
Yeah.
figures in the background. And some people might take offense to this, I hope, but we would drink rum and, we would carry on like pirates, and we liked cigars. And if you could imagine, you're sitting back and you see this lit table and across, you just watch this black, dark figure light up you see just the cherry and then the light billow of smoke, and there's pirates on the table, and it was just, you'd hear the faint R in the background, and it was just amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
we even started to dress up. I mean, nerd alert, but hey, we were into it, man. We
Yeah.
did. We we felt the call. So,
Yeah,
but
really. That sounds epic though.
but
No, that sounds amazing.
eh,
Sounds like you
oh,
had the it sounds like you had the
it
mood
oh
down perfectly.
we did, and honestly, we had to make a rule, and it didn't come into effect too many times. But if you were considered, too inebriated to run your fleet, you forfeit. And one time it was towards the end of the game, and my friend had like 3 ships left, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna roll for my extra action," and he wouldn't get it, and then he'd wait a little while. And he's like, "All right, I'm rolling for my other extra action." Well, he ended up rolling like 7 times for his extra. I was like, "You only got 3 ships. What are you doing, guy?" And he's like, "Ah, yeah, I think I'm done." I was like, "Yeah, you're done." We lost horribly, but I mean, we do our traditional drink at the beginning, at the end, whenever you lost a ship, whenever you lost a lot of ships, whenever you sank a ship, we'd take a time out. And I mean, our games would run for days. I mean, we'd start at
Nice.
like usually around noon on a Saturday, and it would be the wee hours of the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning. And I think our first game was like 40 points, but we upped it like quickly to the point where we never played less than 200 points apiece. After about the third or fourth game, we were like, "Yeah, this is good."
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
we actually ended up building like a 7 foot round table to do like a 300-point game on,
Wow.
and that I went took it to my buddy's house and I set it up in the garage. He didn't know I had it, and the fleet he had built. Part of the way during the game, he was kind of like hemming and hawing, like, I don't know, man. And I was like, well, dude, it's 300 points. We're going to have 2 home islands just to fit all our ships around it. And he's like, all right, man. So we took it downstairs, set it up, and kind of halfway through the game, I noticed from a ways away, like all of his fleet was coming towards my home island. And I'm like, hey, buddy, what's this about? And he's like, well, my strategy was to do the home island thief, pretty much all this stuff was sent your way to take your home island. It was like 3 turns, and he was still like halfway away from my home island. So I was like, you could have said something, and we would have played on the smaller table. And he's like, well, I would have just totally given away my strategy, so I thought I'd chance it. It did not work out for me, so I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, we were all psyched to play on the big table. But
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've got memories galore.
Yeah.
A lot of people would go back, and like my buddy at work would pay his left everything to play one more year of like high school football, because for him that was the moment in his life when he was, oh, if he could relive it he would. And for me it was pirates. It was the best,
Yeah.
absolutely the best time of my life.
Awesome. Man, that is awesome. Yeah, man, it makes
Yeah,
me think about reliving some of the campaign games. I was just got back into playing CG4 again this past week with a couple turns for the first time since last December, and I was so hyped. Like as soon as the email came in that the
yeah.
with that Xerix had played his turn and I was up next, I was like I just set aside all the stuff I was gonna do for the afternoon and just downloaded the file and just started playing like right away. I was like, here we go, CG4, let's go. So yeah, dude, I know the feeling, man. It's awesome. Yeah, 7 foot round table. That is
It
huge.
is.
So you have to like reach like way across that and like bend over trying to get stuff probably.
Ye- Yeah, we had to trim it down because it couldn't reach the middle like nobody could.
Yeah,
We didn't
exactly.
take that into account. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm taking like, 4 foot out of an 8 foot, and just one per side. Yeah, it hasn't seen a lot of action. Yeah, I ended up cutting like a foot off of it. So I think it's like a 6 foot round now, just to make it feasible. But
Nice.
we're just going to ignore the middle for the,
Yeah.
for the maiden voyage here.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
What I've thought about for a future campaign game, I might do a table that has like a hole in the middle so I can crawl under it and like pop up in the middle and then play. And then
we
that way I
thought
can access.
about that.
Yeah, dude. Because then you could make it more than 7 feet. You could make it like 8 or 9 feet wide, maybe, and then because then on the outside you could access like the outer ring or the outer portion, and then you could crawl under and pop up in the middle to access like the inner like half of the table or whatever. So, but that's a long way off for me. So, hopefully someday.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully someday. That sounds like good. Like you could do the hole in the middle could be kind of like the round earth where you just kind of shoot a straight line across so you're not,
Yeah,
so you can get to one side or the other without that big hole taking up a bunch of room. That'd be
yeah,
good. That'd
yeah.
be
That makes
good.
sense. Or you could act like the hole is actually like some kind of massive whirlpool or vortex or something.
Volcano or
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah. The edge of the oh yeah, the edge of the world just
Yeah, Ocean's Edge.
over and
Yeah,
over again.
yeah. It could be like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
you could have
Ocean's
like
Edge.
a, it could be like a circular like ship graveyard where like if you sail off the edge of it, you go to like a separate circular ocean that's like technically like the bottom of the sea or something where the shipwrecks are, something like that. Yeah, we're thinking up like house rules on the spot for this. I love it.
You're in the locker now, boy. There's
Yeah,
no
dude.
getting out.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Unless you do the Pirates of the Caribbean trick and flip the ship over or something. Yeah. So what's if you don't mind talking about it, what's the origin of your username? I think I saw it on a post a long time ago, but
oh yeah. I did this weird little contest. Just I kind of hit it in one of the threads. I actually put like $50 up. Like if you could guess like my origin name, kind of where it stemmed from, and I didn't think it was too obvious, but yeah, somebody guessed it like day two. I can't remember who guessed it, but I dropped like the amount like $5 and leave a hint like every day. And yeah, somebody had guessed it, and I was out like $45. I was like, oh, okay. I had it to give. That's why I put it up. And
yeah.
I liked doing little things like that. I wish I would have done more stuff like that. And they thanked me. They were like, that was really cool. Thanks for doing that. And I was like, well, yeah, thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Just something little to give back because I really appreciated the community. And, but yeah, they guessed the movie. There was, like I said, we love movies like our whole life. And the one had come out my buddy's brother was really into like Wu Tang, so Method Man and Redman had made the movie How High, and Mike Epps was a character on there named Powder. And I won't go too much into his profession, but he would end up slapping people a lot, and he would put like powder on his hand when he did it. And there's this spot in the movie where he's kind of his little lackey that's with him all the time is like wrestling somebody, and somebody barges in, and his lackey says, "We thought," he says, "get him powder," and I think he said, "Tell him powder," but either way, later in life. I ended up getting a dog that was all black, but his snout had like three little white lines on it. And it looked like somebody had put powder on their hand and smacked him across the nose, so his name was Powder.
Yeah.
And so if there was ever an intruder, I could be like, "Hey, get him, Powder." It's stupid, but that's just kind of what my username was for, and
Nice.
that was before I had discovered miniature trading, or I'd even really discovered pirates. So
Yeah.
that was a long time ago, and it was just a thing. And I was like, "Oh, Getempowder, that's my thing," and
Nice. Yeah, it makes a
that's
lot
where
of
that
sense.
stems from.
Yeah, nice. I love it. That's actually probably one of the best like origin stories for the usernames. I would have thought it would have been like a gunpowder reference, due to like the Age of Sail connection and whatnot, but that's a pretty good story.
Oh, yeah, that would have been better.
No, not
Thinking about
better.
it, yeah, that
Just
makes more sense.
uh,
It would have fit the motif way better. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think the story, your story is funnier though. So anyway, have you
it's
played?
just it's weird. Yeah.
Have you played recently at all?
Over the years, I've really just fallen out. Like I said, we used to have these epic battles, and over time, my buddy just one of us, he just kind of started flaking. Like,
Yeah.
we'd be at his parents' house, and he'd start like, "Hi guys, yeah, I can't make it." And I'm like, "What are you doing? That's so important. You can't come play Pirates. Like, your family's in fine health. We're staring right at them. What are you doing?" And it just and over the years, it just became more and more. And now we can't even get a hold of him. I mean, it's sad, but
Hmm.
um, I was actually fighting with my other friend. They kind of feuded for like 5 years there, and it was personal, and I totally understood. But I spent 5 years of my life trying to get those two idiots back together, and it was for selfish reasons. I just wanted to play Epic Pirates again. And we finally, I literally had to kidnap my buddy, and like we were, I want to go for a drive. Yeah, sure. Up in the, and he's like, where are you going? And I was like, you'll see when we get there. It's a surprise. And then we start getting towards my buddy's house. He's like, let me out of the car. I was like, nope, this is happening. I've waited too long for this. And I mean, but I had a fleet that was like 5 years in the making, and I just devastated. I mean, I just bowled them over, no contest. These games that would take us days, we completed in like 4 hours because it was just that bad. I spanked them that bad.
Wow.
But I mean, the whining and the crying was all nostalgic, so that brought a little back. But I can't believe he did that. He just sank like half my fleet. That's like, well, part of the game. And then you'd get
Yeah.
depressed, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the feeling.
But yeah,
I think the worst feeling is when somebody captures your ship and then they start like grabbing it and like using it in their own fleet. That's like
oh,
probably the worst.
oh, messing you up with your. Don't shoot me with my own gun, please.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh man. My these are
Oh,
pretty
we.
crazy stories, man. I wish I had stories like that. That's pretty funny.
Dude, I got tons of them. It's
Nice.
like I said, forever I could go on. Yeah, we stab each other in the back like wholeheartedly. Outside of Pirates too, we would make deals with each other, and we'd always go back on them. And cheating, we would totally cheat. That was part of the game. That was a
Huh.
rule. Like you
Interesting.
cheated, and yeah, yeah. The rule was though, if you got caught, you forfeit.
Okay. Huh.
So nobody ever got caught, and we
Weird.
talk about it sometimes. Like, hey man, did you ever, you ever cheat? I was like, well, yeah, pirate. It's like, well, how did you cheat? I was like, I'm not telling you, because then you're gonna look for it.
Yikes.
But he's like, well, and we all did the same. Like, if we were just an eighth inch off from board, like getting onto an island, we'd usually have a ruling like, hey guys, do I make it? Come on. And it's like we just let it go, because you would just go back and remeasure and bump a little until you made it. And it's like, if your bow's over the island, just take it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But oh yeah, you'd roll in with like a ship that gave you the +2 gold at your home island, and the one that made it there may not have necessarily been that ship, but as +2, nobody's none the wiser. So
Huh.
little things like that, or you're getting kind of bad, and you might get up and like, pretend to trip and bump the table a little so you could reset.
Oh my god.
It's like, oh, you did that on purpose. Prove
Oh
it.
my
And
god.
I can't. I was looking at something else.
Oh my god. Oh
But I
boy.
mean, yeah, you'd get like, oh, sunken treasure, and I'd be like, well, it may have been a 3, but when you go to get it out of the bag, you might have gone a 6.
Oh my god.
It's pretty
Yikes.
cutthroat.
Yeah, I guess
We
so. Damn. Were there like playing stakes? Was like money
yeah,
on the line for the winner or no?
well, it's always just been a running stand. Like we have a notch on the side of the table to count our wins, and we
Yeah,
just kind of rub it in each other's face. We trash talk like,
yeah.
oh, nobody's business. Like, yeah, I'm gonna take your mother out for a nice seafood dinner and never call her again. It's like, oh, that was low, dude. But we threatened to stab each other. We really got into it.
Wow.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the worst games. I really found out that my friends really aren't that good of friends because in a weird situation that happened, um, I would get these headaches, like terrible headaches, and I had Excedrin was like the only thing that would really help me, like these migraines. And I always carried some with me. And my friends were playing. We were in his buddy's basement, and the stairs going up were kind of treacherous. But I got one of the worst headaches in my life. I couldn't hardly see. Neither one of them would lift a finger to help me. They parked at the table. They wouldn't get up. I'm laying on the couch in agony, and I'm like, please, can one of you just run up to my car and just grab the Excedrin out of the console, please? And they're just like, no. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And so they would like, I'm
Pirate.
trying to get up the stairs. I can't see. He's got boards that are like wonky, and I'm afraid I'm going to fall. And I'm like yelling at these two, like, I swear, if you guys don't get up right now. And they wouldn't budge. They wouldn't budge. And I was just so furious because I pretty much had to forfeit. It took me like hours to finally get to my Excedrin and for my headache to calm down. And they had like pretty much just pushed my fleet into the grinder, and they were just fine with that. And I was like, oh my god! And the vengeance that came after that was just every game I played from then on was just, how am I going to take these guys out? How am I just going
Oh,
to ruin their lives and make this game no longer fun? Because oh man, a lot of time and a lot of prep goes into these games, and for them to just be like, ah, you're on your own. I was like, oh my God. As a friend, I was like, you guys are the worst. But as a pirate, I'm like, that was a good move. Like, I got to hand it to you. That was very piratey. So, on one hand, I got to respect them because, yeah, all right.
yeah.
Good show. I'll give you that one. But, oh man. And we'd end up stabbing each other so much, you just end up forgetting what the tally is. It's like, I owe you 3 and I owe you 2. So, I'm going to work on you.
Well, that
But from then on, yeah.
sounds like your group was like maybe one of the most thematic of all time playing this game. It sounds like real pirate versus pirate like every day basically. Man.
Yeah, we would. As soon as somebody left the room, go to the bathroom, refresh their drink, whatever. You'd start scheming with the other one.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna take him out. And then as soon as he left, you go over to the other guy. Hey, let's gang up on this guy. He's winning right now. And you just played both sides until and you knew it was happening. And you come back and it's like, you guys quit talking about me. And they're like, all right, all right. So. Is it your turn? And it's like, all right, I'm out. I hate you guys so much. But yeah, it was just the
Wow.
best time ever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it sounds funny. Yeah, I've never been interested in like cheating or something, but I guess for this game, the name of the game is Pirates, so I guess that might give you an excuse to play dirty sometimes.
yeah, and we do stuff, shady stuff, and like oh man, from then on, I started bringing just warships. I was like, yeah, no gold getters. I'm just out to table you guys, and that's it. And the first time I did that, I set my fleet up on the table, and they're just looking at me like, hey, we're your gold runners. I was like, hey, don't worry about it. And they're like, oh. And the
Don't
look
worry
of
about
death, like they shot each other, was like, oh no, we're in trouble. And oh, I almost got away with it. Nobody's ever tabled anybody, but I had used whirlpools, right? I had Davy Jones on the Flying Dutchman, the copy ability. I threw a whirlpool in front of his home island turn one and my other buddy's home island turn one. And I
Nice.
sent half my fleet through and my other fleet through. And oh man, I destroyed at least half. It was pretty even. And I started retreating because I needed to repair and stuff. What I didn't account for is that the whirlpools work both ways.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
so they used my own pools against me and just shot up at my home island and took me out. And I was like, well, that didn't go right. But all right, plan B, I guess. But
Wow. So what's your favorite faction if you have one?
what's that, sir?
What's your favorite faction if you have one?
Oh well, it's geez, I like bits and pieces from all of them, but I gotta say Pirates. I mean, just because
Yeah.
it's the name of the game. Yeah, if it weren't for the movie series, that's my favorite series. I know I might be the only one, but if it weren't for the movies, I don't know that I ever would have found Pirates, honestly,
Yeah.
because I never went down the aisle at Target or Toys R Us looking for cards or anything like that. We never done anything like that before. So just the fact that we loved the movies and my buddy's girlfriend decided to pick up those packs. I mean, it all stemmed from that moment in life, and
Yeah.
that changed our lives from then on.
Yeah.
So we've always loved the movies, and it's always been just pirate, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have a favorite ship or no?
Oh man, I always it's weird because I have an affinity for the Cutty Sark, and they never made that.
Yep.
But it would have been a great, I think, gold getter. But for playing, it's always been the Grand Temple for me. That ship has it's seen me through so much. Um, Even after we fixed the rules and stuff, yeah, that was my flagship always.
Yep.
And I never used the China Seas version of it. I wanted to once, and I've never used a Ten Master. My one friend always used a Ten Master, and I always wanted to, but I never got around to it.
Huh. Interesting.
And I loved sinking that Ten Master so much. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
I'd take the swallow with broadsides and with an extra action and just boom, done every time. I remember one time I got explosives and I just put it on my little scout ship and I ran it into him and I sank it with a lucky roll. I
Oh,
was so happy. That was a good day. That was a
yeah.
great day. But
Nice. Wow. Is there a favorite play, like within a game that you remember? Like a play to win or a play that was like really dramatic at the time or something like that?
yeah, well, there's a lot actually,
Yeah.
but my favorite win was, like I said, we always played with the fort in the middle, and it was the second revenge game. I had come back with Plan B, and I just put a whirlpool in front of my home island, whirlpool in front of the fort, sent my whole fleet through, destroyed the fort, got all the gold, and was heading back home. And they had barely gotten to their first, closest home islands, and they're just looking at me like, I was like, that's the game. I'm like, yep, I guess so. They're like, oh my God. I go, oh my God. So they're like, no, 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 this can't happen. And I was like, what do you mean it can't happen? And they're like, well, no, 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 no whirlpools. And I was like, what do you mean no whirlpools? You can't just ixnay a piece from the game. What is your deal? And they're like, all right, we got to do something about this. So no whirlpools. So they ended up making me pay like kind of a jerk tax. And I was like, you know what? I'm cashing in on your tax right now. So I was like, that's a win. You better give me that. And they're like, all right, yeah, that's a win. All right. So I marked it on the table. I was like, I'm marking it right now. We ended up resetting the game, and they're like, "You can't use Calypso, no way." And I was like, "All right, fine." And I was just so happy. The look on their face was just like, "Oh, it's over. Oh no, we're resetting, we're restarting." And I was like, "In your face, yeah. Just
Nice.
remember who's the pirate." Like, all right. But another one that really stands out is the whole chaining thing. We did, yeah, totally wrong. We just assumed it was your ship as many free actions between your ships and islands if you wanted. So if you got like 3 ships on an island, trade whatever you want between them as many times as you want. And my friend, it was weird because a lot of our games would come down to a couple gold. And usually we'd play till all the gold was taken, or there was just a couple left, and somebody would demand a count. It's like, hey, I want to count what's out there. And you'd say, like, oh, I got like 102. And somebody'd be like, I got 105. And then you're both looking at the 2 gold pieces out there. And by then everybody knew what they were. And then you'd fight like dogs over it because that meant the win. And my buddy, those like 2 turns set up, and he had chained from like 3 islands out all the way to his home island, skipping between islands. And he ran that coin from like 3 islands out all the way to his home island and won the game. And that was, I mean, it was legal for us at the time. I don't think that was a legal thing, after we found the codex. I'm not quite sure how it works, but we kind of ixnayed that. But we had to give him the win. I mean, that was epic. That was really just for the win. He slid his ship right into place, made the chain, got it home, and that we were like, well played, sir. That was divine. But those are probably my 2 favorites. They were just really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Calypso. She's one of the most unique and fun game pieces to use. If you use her right, she can be totally just, oh, dude. It creates so many epic moments, dude. Yeah, I had her in Command the Oceans. The Curse were able to copy her in my Command the Oceans game from late 2017, and they basically used her to teleport like a big Cursed battle fleet across to a different ocean where the French were residing in their harbor. So they did like a huge sneak attack where they created a whirlpool like right at the mouth of the French harbor, and then they showed up and just started like blasting away and like created like a huge amount of chaos. Lasted for like a ton of turns, and it was they were able to use like multiple combos at the same time because they had Neptune's Trident, the UT on one of the ships, so they were able to use that. The one that it shoots out a wave that's like SY and like 3L long or whatever, and then it knocks out 2 masts from every ship in the path. So they use that to basically open the battle and like attack the French in their own harbors. So yeah, dude, it's
Domino.
Yeah. Exactly. Dude, it was immense carnage, dude. It's awesome. Yeah, man, that sounds like.
I was the.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was the only one that ever used her. Like none of the other guys ever used Calypso, like ever, not once.
Huh.
It was weird. I was like, this is like an outstanding game piece, man. Like, yeah, we're good. I'm like, seriously?
No whirlpools. No whirlpools.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I couldn't set one up within so far of the fort. Like that was the rule from then on. I could still use them. I honestly didn't much after that because I kind of proved my point. But it was like, done and done. But
yeah,
that gets you all the way across the board, and then you just get home. But yeah, it is a great piece.
Yeah. So you ran the Curse Challenge back in 2013. I wasn't able to find it on the Internet Archive because it doesn't have that thread URL wasn't saved from Miniature Trading, but I have the 2 fleets up on my site. So I won that challenge. I was going to thank you for hosting that because I remember that had a booty prize, if you will, a cash prize as well. So that was really cool challenge to win. So. And you said something about how it helped you out, so I know you've got a bit more background on it than I do.
Well, yeah. As my games started becoming fewer and fewer in between, that's when I kind of found miniature trading. And I had been like monitoring the site for a good, like probably year before I ever even joined, and I was just using it for resources, and everybody on there just were really great. And what I had done is like my wife was willing to, throw me a pity game, and she's like, yeah, I'll play, I just, you got to build a fleet and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, what do you want to do? And she thought about it for a while, and she's like, well, you know what? I really like the cursed. I want to be the cursed. And I was like, is there a second choice? All right. I mean, I can I got some copper and some zinc. I can't make you gold, but I can do brass, maybe a dull brass at the best. I don't know. So I wasn't, I was like, well, you guys online are just phenomenal at piecing those puzzles together and coming up with stuff. And I was like, I'm going to throw it to you guys because I need help on this because I don't know. This is going to be terrible. Like, so yeah, you guys come back with some great stuff. And I was like, I never thought of that. I never thought of that. That's really awesome. So yeah, I ended up using your fleet and just to play a game, and it ended up going pretty good. So
Nice.
that was a huge help because I didn't know how I was going to do that. My favorite, I think my favorite character is Davy Jones. He's my guy. Um, I, I loved the Flying Dutchman. I didn't use it that much because it was just it's like I got one cursed thing in my fleet, you know. Um, but yeah, to build a whole fleet out of it, and I kept leaning towards the Six Master. Is it the Divine Dragon?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I just couldn't. I didn't like it. And oh yeah, here's another. We I was actually listening to one of your how to play um, Pirates. You went over the basic rules and stuff, and you had mentioned how to roll. You know, and it's like on the rule sheet, you got to get better than the printed.
Yeah.
And as soon as you said that, I drew a blank from every game I had ever played, thinking, "Did we do that?" Or I was like, "We've been using the printed roll this whole
Yeah.
time." And I had this weird little flashback because I actually in my work truck I keep a little how to play, and I usually kept I think the Spanish main rule book. I usually had like a couple just sitting in the coffee cup holder because I'd get bored on break or lunch or something, and I just kind of thumbed through it. And I used to work with my good buddy I used to play with, and I'd pull out the rule book every once in a while, and I pulled that out once. I have this weird memory that I was like, "Hey, guy, look at this. Says here we should be rolling higher than the printed." And he's like, let's just pretend we never saw that. I was like, okay. So I think I tried to like wipe that from my memory because I even went to my wife. I was like, hey, so if you got like a mask with a three on it, and you roll a three, what happens? She's like, you hit. And I was like, no, we've been doing it wrong this whole time. And I couldn't believe we had spaced that, but yeah, that was a huge thing. Oh yeah, we played so much wrong, everything wrong. It was terrible,
Yeah.
but we had fun.
Interesting.
Um, I got off on a trail there. What were we talking about? I'm so sorry.
No,
The
I was
fleet,
wondering
yeah,
if so I guess you use the devastating
yeah, the
duo
fours.
fleet probably, or the 100 point curse fleet I made for that challenge. Because that was, I think
What's
that was,
that? Sorry.
I think you probably used the devastating duo fleet, the 100 point fleet, because that was
Yeah.
the better one I submitted. Yeah. So do you know if it won that game or no?
No. I
Nice.
I
No.
I mean I come back with everything I had. Like I was like
Okay, yeah, that
I
makes
don't know
sense.
when I'm going to get to play cards. I'm
Yeah.
going to have fun, you know. And
Yeah, that
she
makes
was
total
okay
sense.
with it,
Yeah.
but she didn't play me a whole lot after that. Um,
It's like, yeah, no.
oh, but yeah, like I know you like the historical, aspect of it,
Yeah.
and I kind of lean towards the fantasy. I do love the historical, like I love the Constitution and all of that. But one game, it was me and my buddy and my other buddy Flight, and we were just sitting there, and my buddy's brother happened to come over, and he's like, "Oh, hey guys, what are you doing? Oh, pirates, sweet." And we're like, "Oh, hey dude, we got an open seat." And he's like, "Well, nah, I don't want to like." My other buddy's like, "Well, we could get him a small fleet, but it's gonna take us like an hour or two to build you a fleet." And I had like a sea monster, I think one of the shy baller or something on the table, and he's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, sea monsters." I was like, "Oh yeah." So I pull out my big box of sea monsters. I was like, "Dude, you could just be these and just come and mess with us like the whole game." That was a weird fun game we played because he was like, "Oh, that sounds great." So we had my buddy's brother just be all of these sea monsters and just kind of come at us, So we were busy. We didn't really care about each other. We were busy dodging sea monsters and trying to get gold. and not get killed because he
Yeah.
was coming at us with a vengeance. That was super fun, and that is the only time I ever played Sea Monsters. But yeah, the one Sea Monster you had that gave the captain ability, I never even thought of that. I was like, that's a great one right
Yeah.
there. But yeah, I was talking the fours on the Divine Dragon. Those rolls were terrible, and we were hitting on fours, not fives. So I
Yeah.
mean, I even gave it
Well,
unknowingly an extra advantage, and
no, that
I
that
ended
would
up just abandoning that idea.
that actually works because the Divine Dragon, the Curse Six Master version, does have the World Hating ability built in, which gives you +1 to can rolls. So it basically turns fours into fives. So in that case, she does have like 50% accuracy on her cannon. So fours would hit with that one at least.
Mm-hmm.
So that was played right. So that's good. But yeah, having it be
All
equal
right.
to the mass would
Well,
increase your accuracy, no doubt.
uh, so we got one right.
Yeah.
That's about it, though.
Nice. Oh man. Yeah, it was a fun challenge. And I noticed the two fleets I submitted, I just looked at again. They had different point costs. I like that you had like a totally open point cost for that challenge from what I remember. So that's cool. Because usually it's all just one build total. So it was a pretty unique fleet challenge in that regard.
Yeah, I remember. I think I tried to give out like three prizes, I think, and I thought I had a raptor maw up for a prize once, and I can't remember if it was that challenge. I don't remember doing very many, but I offered like, was that second place? I don't remember. Yeah, so first prize was just cash offer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember one time I did that, a Raptor Maw, and I was like, well, you can have the Raptor Maw, or I'll just, instead, just cash instead, so I didn't have to like ship it. I just gave it as an option. And I had like first place was the Raptor Maw, I think, and then third place was like a set of home islands. I can't remember what I had for second place, but
Hmm.
I went down the line and like everybody just wanted the cash. I was like, well, first place, skip the Raptor Maw. Do you want it, or would you rather have some money? And well, I'll take the cash. And I'm like, all right. So then I was like, oh, this is like everybody's on hard times, I guess. All right, sure. I thought a Raptor Maw. I was like, oh yeah, that's mine. And I was like, okay, well, a few bucks, sure. Um, so that was weird. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, nobody's taking this Raptor Maw. What's up? But I couldn't remember if that was the challenge or not. But it seemed like because I didn't do too many. I wanted to do more, and I just could
Yeah.
never get around to it.
Yeah. It's possible that the Raptor Maw was one of the prizes for that challenge, but I think part of it that I think the prize was either 50 or $100 for that fleet challenge, and I think the Raptor Maw had been selling for like 40 or something. So it makes made the decision a little easier if I had to make a
Mm-hmm.
decision. So I can't remember for sure, but yeah, it was great though. So thanks for that. It was a
Oh, no
neat one.
problem. Yeah, I was glad I could do it. It was just something fun. Like I love the community. I've never really been too involved in it. A lot of that has to do with, well, my lack of technology, you could say. Everything I ever posted, like on miniature trading, was done on a PS3. So
Nice.
it was kind of hard I don't know if you've ever dealt with the browser on a PS3, but it
No.
is not good. So I actually had some stories I had written kind of in the view of a game starting. Like I wanted to be a character that would board a ship and then go out on a treasure hunt and meet other ships in the war. So basically it was putting into a story like an actual game. And I had a few pages written and I tried posting it just to get like opinions and stuff. But after about the 10th time of retyping a page and it messing up, I was like, okay, I got to be done.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that honestly kept me off a lot. I was just, and I'm still rocking a flip phone, man. I need to get with the times. I really, the last resume I did on a typewriter, and I'm like pushing 40, so I'm not like super old, but I remember what it was like without any of this stuff. It was hard knocks. I mean, like my kids, they had no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to get with the times. I was at a dinner once, and I had put my flip phone on the table, and the waiter comes over. He's like, "Oh, nice burner. Did you need me to throw that away for you?" I was like, "Oh no, I need that." So,
Oh my god.
because it's beat up. I've had it for a long time,
I
and
need me to throw that
oh
away.
man,
Oh my god. Wow.
he was
That's
like dead serious, like he thought I found it like on the ground or something under the seats. They'd been there for eons. I was like, "No, it still works." He's like, "Oh wow, I'm sorry." I was like, "Oh, don't be sorry. I know it's bad. I know it's bad."
yeah.
But
That's great though.
yeah, I need to get with the times. I am gonna buy a computer. I'm working on it.
All right, cool. I was gonna
And
say the setup that you talked about with the fort in the middle, I might try to recreate that on the Vassal module. So if you do get a computer, maybe we could actually play a game of at least 200 points on that kind of setup. That'd be awesome.
yeah, I don't know if you can customize the stats of the
Yeah.
forts.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can actually.
okay.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that Vassal. You had asked me a long time ago about Vassal, and I was like, I almost bought a computer right then and there,
Nice.
because I was like, this is a thing. Wow,
Yeah.
and watching what you guys are doing with it is just amazing. It's like, oh man, that is so cool. I wish I could do that, and
Yeah.
I can. I just, you got to grow up. I don't know. Yeah, it's something that's terrible.
No, that's all
But
right. Yeah, let me know if you do
yeah, yeah.
get it though, because that'd be that sounds like a blast. That setup. I think I might make a map for it anyway, and then try to play it sometime. That'd be cool. Yeah, it could be myself, you, and Xerix. Maybe 200 points minimum, and then try to recreate that exact setup with your help. That would be an awesome. That'd probably be an awesome game to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and can you do multiplayer, I
Oh yeah,
believe?
yeah. You can do.
Okay,
You can pretty much do as many as you want. Yeah. Yeah, it works
nice.
great too because you can just if you can't finish it in one session, you can just send the file. You can save the file and then just resume it another time, and you can also send the file by email. So you talked about how your games went for
Nice.
until like 4 in the morning. We could just play for 3 hours one day and then wait a week and then play again. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. That's how we've been able to play three campaign games and now we're on to a fourth one. So and they've all lasted at least 3 months, and this one has been going on. The CG4 technically started in like I want to say April 2018, so I think it's going on 2 years now. I think so. Yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I used to live on a computer, like back Windows 98. Well, Windows 10 had come out, but everybody was still like, Windows 98 is the best. Ah, and I'm like, all right, cool. And it had crashed, and I swore that witchery off. And I was like, I will make it to my grave without ever opening a spreadsheet. That is my solemn promise. And I was like, worst mistake of my life, right there, because it's happening, and I just got to get with it. But that would be one of the huge reasons to do it.
Nice.
That night, I want to do a 3D printer. And
Yeah.
I used to have in high school some CAD experience, and I thought, I could do ships. Why not? Can't be that hard. But I remember the manual being like the size of a New York City phone book for that program, and yikes, yeah, I'll be relearning. I'll be inventing the wheel all over again. But see, I work construction. I've been a construction worker like my whole life, and I've
Yeah.
never really had to. I got a tape measure and a pencil, and that's been my computer
Yeah.
forever, and it's been all I've needed. But now it's getting to be where technology's taking over. No matter what, I got to get with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Either way, but yeah, getting a computer would allow you to get on Vassal, so that'd be cool to play if you want to. Um, yeah, I guess now it's time for questions of the day. So I'll let you think about yours if you want. It's optional, of course. Mine would be kind of one geared more towards current events. I know a lot of things are going really bad for a lot of people right now. I don't mean this to be offensive in any way, but just trying to keep it on topic with pirates. How do you think the economics effects of the virus will affect or potentially affect the Pirate CSG market, both in the short term, like this month, and then throughout the year as well. So, anyway, again, I don't mean to be offensive or anything. I'm just trying to connect it to Pirates. So, anyway, so if you want to ask a question, you can
oh,
go ahead.
oh yeah, I just if anybody, uh, I don't know, that moment in your life that you wish you could get back. I mean, for me, it was Pirates, and I'm just, is anybody else, like, kind of the same way. Like, if not, what is that moment? Because that's been a lot of my life, is just that Pirates, that history I've had.
Yeah.
Um, and everybody's is different, but I'm just curious if I'm the only one, Is
Wow.
it just me?
I doubt it.
I doubt it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on the Facebook group, I see people coming in almost every week now that are coming back to the game or just getting into it that are just so excited to play and share it with their family and friends and stuff like that. So I doubt you'd be the only one there. So yeah, I sometimes I reminisce
Nice.
about past campaign games from like 2015 or 2012, and I just start reading my own battle reports and I'm just engrossed in it, and it's a lot of fun. The game's long been over, but I do enjoy reading about them again. So yeah, and I think Vassal for you would be maybe the best way to kind of relive that, or at least try to start playing again. And Xerix and I, a lot of people like to play smaller games, but on Vassal, you can play with anybody essentially in the world that has the program. So if you got it, Xerix and I both like playing big games too. So we would be
Nice.
potential pirate frenemies, I guess you could call us,
Yeah.
if you wanna test out those waters. So awesome,
Oh, yeah, I'd be all in. That'd be
nice,
great.
awesome,
Yeah, you'll be the first to know
cool.
when it happens.
Yep. All right. Thanks for a funny podcast, man. This is awesome. All right.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. Ben, you are a national treasure in my eyes. I really appreciate everything you do for this
Thanks, man.
game. It is amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. This first podcast of
Oh,
2020,
no problem.
and then the first podcast on the way to 100 episodes. Although that will probably take a lot longer than it took to get to 50, but that's all right. So thanks for listening. This was podcast number 51, and Asonics Fan Ben and Getempowder signing off for now.